Hello everybody! In this video I'm going to show you how you can grow things in nematode infested soil and get rid of the nematodes without any fertilizer. It is going to take a while, but you can actually get to a point where you're growing tomatoes in soil that used to kill plants like that because it was infested with nematodes. You don't need to kill the nematodes. There's another way to do it, and I'm about to show you exactly how that works. Welcome to permaculture! This box that you see here is, I think, almost 3 years old, okay? And, I know there's a lot of different stuff going on, but right now, you see this tomato plant. It goes up here, goes all the way up there, and then it's got some tomatoes, right? I mean, that's nothing crazy. It's just a couple green tomatoes. But I'll get into why that is super crazy to me. 3 years ago, this started as just, like, an empty box. It was just this box filled with soil, and I didn't really know anything about permaculture, and I only thought about what can I plant in here? And I like tomatoes, so I envisioned vines growing up full of tomatoes, and I thought that'd be really cool. And then I just planted a bunch of tomatoes, and they just kept dying. No matter what I did, no matter everything I tried, the tomato would grow. It would get to be about as whole as this plant. It would look really healthy, strong, big leaves, nothing else wrong with it. And then just overnight, boom, it would just wilt. Whether there was too much or too little water, it didn't matter. It would just do that, and then within 2 days, the whole plant was dead. And then one by one, that happened to every single tomato I had. Even when I replanted them, I tried for 6 or 7 months to just grow tomatoes and killed 30 tomato plants. Not little ones. I mean ones that were big enough. They should have been okay, but they weren't. So it became apparent to me that there was something in the soil that was screwing everything up. So I gave up on tomatoes. I was like, okay, you know what? Instead of trying to get something out of this box, I'm just going to grow whatever I can in it. And at the time, I happened to have a bunch of basil plants. So these basil plants back here, this is what in Nicaragua is called albahaca, but it's like basil, but it's not Italian basil. It's a little bit different than Italian basil. I can probably grab one of the leaves. Here we go, 1 second. Here's a new shoot of it. So these are perennial, so they last a long time, see? I made this because I like making pesto, and that I planted in a monoculture style, except I planted way too many of them. I planted a whole grid. There were probably 20, 25 basil plants here in this. None of this stuff you see here was there. And I just kind of let those plants grow. And some crazy stuff happened because eventually I got tired of basil. And I hadn't realized it, but those basil plants apparently had totally changed the situation in the soil. Because now there's all these roots everywhere. And I don't mean now, this is a year ago at this point, when it was just basil. They'd made all of these roots everywhere, all over the place. And I didn't realize at the time, but that is the key. One of the reasons that nematodes are so destructive in areas that you're trying to grow is because there's not enough food for the nematodes. So when you put some food there, they all flock to it, they swarm it, and they kill it. But if there's too many roots, too many different plants, too much stuff, they have no idea. From what this has taught me, is that as long as you're not taking out, then you're actually going to be increasing the fertility. You basically make this skin on the top. And that skin, I'll kind of break some tradition here and you see all this activity? All those bugs and those roots, worms. You need a layer of that. It's like how our skin covers our body. Well, in a healthy system of plants, the dirt is covered in a skin of fungus and insects and even bacteria. And this is so incredibly important, not just for the plants, but also for our immune systems. But that's a whole separate subject. But what ended up happening apparently is now I can just grow anything in here. And because everything, I don't grow fruiting stuff and take the nutrients away, everything goes back onto the top here. And as you can see, sometimes stuff accumulates. I take out the trash and I just put this stuff on the top. And anytime I trim and cut that kind of thing, I put it on the top and just accumulate this. I've also buried sticks to make places for fungus to grow. You can see this is the same species of fungus right here. These are babies from that one. You can see here a healthier one of those that's a bit dry. And something like this, you may ask, like, I mean, if you're gardening stuff, why is there a big stick there? Because it's just dead, right? This kind of thing is actually really, really important. All the animals, all the little insects, the life that I was talking about that's so important, in order to have that, you need safety. You need places that stay moist, that stay dark, that can protect all of these insects. So you need, it can be chunks of wood. It doesn't have to be a big one like this. Even something like charcoal ends up degrading and becoming great homes for all this kind of life. But you can grow a surprising amount of stuff in a really small amount of space. And it's really blown my mind, just establishing kind of a system. You know, a lot of the plants you see, they won't necessarily all be here. Like this is a sunflower, right? So this just grows up there, reaches the sun, makes a sunflower, and then dies. And then I put this stuff and plant more of them. And these are chia right here. So this is chia, and so is this. This is also chia. And one of the things I'm trying to do is attract a lot of stingless bees, because Nicaragua has loads of stingless bees. There's probably some off on these flowers there. I just can't see because of the light. And stingless bees produce one of the healthiest honey you can possibly consume. And these little black bees produce a honey that has anti-diabetic properties. And I know that sounds ridiculous. A sugar, a sweetener that's anti-diabetic. I know that sounds made up, but I'm not kidding you. It's like a magic honey. It's not the same chemical as other sweeteners and other sugars. It's a different combination of fructose and sucrose. And I think it's called tahallulose or something like that. And it is like a really interesting chemical if you want to look into it. I'm trying to procure stingless bee honey because of how fascinating this substance is. There's a lot of kind of old wives' tales about the healthiness of honey, but a lot of honey you see is just sugar-fed bees. It's tragic, you know, but it looks like you can make an environment when you live in the tropics, like a place here, like Nicaragua, and you can create these situations where food and things just kind of produce because there's no winter, there's nothing killing stuff off. And if you just use what you see online and keep applying things and keep putting what you get back into the soil and building up rich skins and layers of organic material, your goal sort of is to keep upping the percentage of organic material in the soil. The more organic material, the healthier it is and the less you have to water it. And eventually it gets to a point where it can live without you watering it. Something like this, that would probably never happen just because of how small it is. It's hard to store enough water through the dry season here in Nicaragua. But if you were doing this kind of thing, but this was actually in the ground somewhere, it would be totally possible for all of this to exist without water. Seems to be working. I didn't do this on purpose. It just kind of happened by chance, something to do with planting all of these basil plants. It changed something about the soil, and I'm not going to pretend to know what, but if you look out here, those are all the same basil plants. It's just, this all used to be basil, and they fell over and fell out the front, and now, even though there's all those basil growing out, all this stuff can grow. It's crazy. I would have even got passion fruit out of them, but I didn't because I made a mistake with the genetics. I didn't realize you can't have a bunch of passion fruit vines from the same seed, the same fruit. Otherwise, they're not going to pollinate each other properly. So I should have used vines from different fruits. And then I would have actually gotten passion fruit out of this because there's crap loads of passion fruit vines here. But that is another thing. This stuff, oh, it's amazing. I don't know what's in it, but the passion fruit goes really, really deep, and it makes these leaves, and everything goes nuts over passion fruit leaves. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why, but I can tell you that chickens eat this, insects eat this. If they fall, they get eaten by all sorts of different bugs. And if you make a mulch out of them and make it like a layer on top, it very quickly becomes a really active layer of fungus with veining, and it's very obviously got something in it that is really high energy and really useful and acts as some kind of fertilizer. Because it may look little, this plant, but you can get loads and loads and loads of passion fruit leaves. All these vines are actually just from a passion fruit. Well, not one. There's like, I don't know, like 7 passion fruit plants in there, 8, maybe even 9. There's a lot. But yeah, I just wanted to show you, and I'll finish off at the end because I started about tomatoes, right? That's why this tomato plant here that you see, that's why it's so crazy to me that he's got tomatoes on him. You get it? All this time, I was trying to grow tomatoes using monoculture, and they would never get anywhere near this big. It got all the way up here, reached out the top, has multiple branches, really soaking up the sun, but has a solid base of soil that's not in the sunlight, that's covered, and it's just doing great. Like, there's a few bugs, but it doesn't care. And I'm telling you, all the other ones, they got to about this tall. They got big. They looked healthy at first, but then they would just die. But this one isn't. And that's so weird because it goes against everything I thought before. Because I thought the more I grow, then the weaker the soil will get. But it's not that simple. It's only that way when you use monoculture. And monoculture is poisoning our world. It really is. And we just don't have to do it. There's better ways. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next video. Remember, I offer consultations if you like that kind of thing. They're $20 per 30-minute session, and you can talk about whatever we want. If there's anything I've ever talked about that you're interested in, I can educate you about it. We can have a conversation about it. Sometimes people pay me to teach their kids stuff. I've had dads come to me and help have a meeting so I can show their kid how to do something with some software or something online, or give them some encouraging entrepreneurship stuff. So if there's any of this kind of thing you're interested in, really, I'm quite flexible. Just reach out, book a call, and I'll make it useful, I swear. All right, everybody. See you next time. Bye.